Hey, shuckalaka kapow, how's it going, old schoolers? You are kicking it old school with Russell JS, and I am your host, Russell JS. I got another album versus album track by track for you. This is going to be a battle of live albums of two of my favorite bands, both of them from New York City, around the same era. Different genres of hard rock. One was the shock rock heavy metal, the other was the beginning of punk rock. And two of their live albums are gonna duke it out. What am I talking about? You wanted the best, you got the best, the hottest band in the world, Kiss Alive 3 versus from the mast of CBGBs coming out of Bleecker and Bowerly. You know them. They pioneered punk rock consisting of Johnny, Joey, Tommy, and Dee Dee. But this time around, they're Joey, Johnny, CJ, and Marky, the Ramones' greatest hits live. And remember, if you're new to the channel, feel free to hit a like, subscribe, leave comments down in the box below, hit the notification bell for more videos to come. And also, just know I'm starting to get other stuff prepared for other videos. Summer's coming up. I may be venturing out into the urban wilderness of Southwest Florida, maybe further. Who knows? All depends on how the finances go. And see, I couldn't find my Ramones shirt is dirty, so I went ahead and grabbed this Kiss shirt right here. And I've got a Ramones t-shirt. I just don't have a Ramones hat because I wanted to do AC/DC Live versus Kiss Alive 3, the Ramones Live versus AC/DC Live. But, I can't find my copy of AC/DC Live. It's somewhere buried in that treasure trove known as the laboratory. But without further delay, let's see how these bad Oscars rank out, shall we? Kiss Alive 3 versus Ramones' Greatest Hits Live. Let's see. In the case of this study, let me go ahead and take a quick puff. That feels so good. Desert Gold. It's supposed to taste like Camel cigarettes. I'm planning on switching a different vape, maybe cookies and cream or something like that. But in this case scenario, 16 tracks, both albums. Well, Ramones has 2 bonus studio tracks, but I'm not going to bother with those. Just like I'm not going to bother if I review Kiss Alive 2 with the bonus studio tracks. All right, here we go. In this case, Kiss Alive 3 versus Ramones' Greatest Hits Live. Creatures of the Night versus Durango 95. You know what? Great intro to the Ramones. They must be huge fans of Clockwork Orange, because that was the car that Alex and his droogs were driving around in playing Hogs of the Road. It was a great way to intro it, but it was less than a minute. So, all it was an instrumental and 3 chords of distortion. So I'm giving that to Creatures of the Night. Deuce versus Blitzkrieg Bop. Ugh! Oh man, this is where like Blitzkrieg Bop is one of the Ramones' best notable tunes, and I love that song, and I love Deuce. But you know what? I'm giving them both a point because I love them both. I Just Wanna versus Do You Remember Rock and Roll Radio? I Just Wanna is a good tune, but you know what? I think I like Do You Remember Rock and Roll Radio way better. Which, by the way, on the Ramones tribute CD, We're a Happy Family, we're a tribute to the Ramones, Kiss actually covered Do You Remember Rock and Roll Radio? Unholy versus I Wanna Be Sedated. This is where Gene Simmons is trying to be really heavy metal. And you know what? I like the song very much, and I love I Want to Be Sedated. Oh, this is going to be... I don't have a quarter with me. Hold on. Get your tiger by the toe. Go. I want to be sedated takes the point. Heaven's on Fire versus Spider-Man. You know, Heaven's on Fire during Kiss's non-makeup, 80s non-makeup period was a big hit for them. And it's a really good song. I love the intro that Paul Stanley does when he goes that, whoa, 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 you know, like that. But even though Spider-Man is a cover of the theme song of the 60s animated series, I love the way the Ramones do it. So the Ramones get the point. Watching You versus I Don't Want to Grow Up. You know what? I Don't Want to Grow Up is okay, but I'm giving it to Watching You. I like Watching You better. Domino versus Sheena is a punk rocker. You know, that's another, hit for the Ramones. It's a great tune, but it's overplayed more than Blitzkrieg Bop. I've heard it in car commercials. I've heard it in soda commercials and things like that. It's an okay tune, but I have to go with Domino on that one. I Was Made for Loving You versus Rockaway Beach. Now, here's the thing. I Was Made for Loving You is a really great song. I mean, yeah, they discoed it a lot in the studio, but I love the way it sounds in concert. This is the true way Kiss should have recorded it instead of the whole synthesizer try to make it sound, just because disco was so popular. And Rockaway Beach is a really great tune. So you know what? I'm going to give them, I'm giving them both a point. So now they're tied. I Still Love You versus Strength to Endure. I'm definitely going with Strength to Endure because that is a little bit too slow. I mean, I have nothing against power ballads. Power ballads are great, and it's a great tune. But you know what? I have to go with Strength to Endure. Rock and Roll All Night versus Cretin Family. You know what? I love Rock and Roll All Night live. I mean, especially, live when they do the solo, but it doesn't sound the same. They don't do it the right way on this version. So I'm going with Cretin Family. Lick It Up versus Do You Want to Dance? You know what? Lick It Up became their Kiss's, big hit, first hit to come out during the non-makeup era when they finally, peeled off the face paint. And it's a great tune. Do You Want to Dance? Yeah, it's kind of like I guess it's a 60s cover. It's not it's not a good song. I prefer, at this point, I wouldn't even listen. I don't even like the original version. So you know what? Lick It Up takes that point. Forever versus We're a Happy Family. Again, I love power ballads. I mean, Forever is a good tune, but at this point in the in this competition, I have to go with We're a Happy Family. I Love It Loud versus The Crusher. Oh boy, yeah. You know what? Both are heavy tunes, and I love them both. So this is gonna hurt, just so I can keep myself from getting hurt. I'm giving them both a point. Detroit Rock City versus 53rd and 3rd. Again, both are my favorites. Both of them are favorite songs from both bands. I love them both. So once again, they both get a point there. God Gave Rock and Roll to You versus Beat on the Brat. Well, it's a great song. I mean, it was covered originally by the band Slade. And, it was a great outro for the end of Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. I love this song, and I love Beat on the Brat. So they're both going to get a point. Star Spangled Banner versus Pet Cemetery. The last songs. This is going to be one of these are going to take the win. Here's the thing. I think the Star Spangled Banner always sounds awesome on the electric guitar. It's something that Jimi Hendrix, he was the first one ever to do it, and it's been imitated many times. And I love the way Kiss does it, but Pet Cemetery takes the win. So now, here is your results. Kiss Alive with 9 points. Ramones Greatest Hits Live with 11 points. There you have it right there. Ramones Greatest Hits Live takes the win against Kiss Alive 3. Now, I've been wanting to, sometime during the week, always try to make videos, but, being that I work Monday through Friday, 40 hours a week, it kind of is tough because I'm also taking care of my mom and dad too. And I'm always trying to balance, like my life, making videos, working my job, taking care of mom and dad, having a social life and everything. And I can tell you, it's a hard task to do. But every chance I get, I always try to find that time to make a video for you all. Well, that does it for this, track by track, live album versus live album. And remember, once again, if you're new to this channel, feel free to hit a like, subscribe, leave comments down in the box, ring the bell for notifications, and, tell all your friends. Tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your brother, your sister, your aunt, your uncle, your grandma, your grandpa, your co-workers, your pets, your roommates, anybody that would be interested in kicking it old school. And remember to keep it real, keep it fresh, keep it chill. Listen to old school music, play old school video games, watch old school TV, watch old school movies, and get you enough of love, get you enough of peace, get you enough of tranquility, get you enough of less chaos, no chaos, less drama, no drama. And as always, your old pal Russell JS wants to wish you Godspeed. May the force be with you always, and shakalaka kapow!